So how do you start a plant swap in your area? This video is going to walk you through everything you need from finding people to organizing your very first event. Today I'm interviewing Julie Topping, founder of Detroit Plant Swap. She shared her experience from her very first plant swap to how is it going today, all the things you need to even start your own. All right, I am talking to Julie Toppings.
Right. No S.
Toppings today from Detroit City Plants about starting a plant swap. Something that I would like to do and like to learn for the new neighborhood I live in. And I know a lot of people in my community want some tips and tricks and figuring it out from you because you started a plant swap in your area. Tell us a little about it.
Well, I started it when I don't think there had been any other plant swaps in the area I lived in. And I wanted to meet other plant people I was meeting on Instagram. So I approached a friend who owned a store in a historic building here that I've always loved and asked her if she would help me because I knew she knew about marketing, blah, blah, blah. But she was very excited. And it kind of mushroomed from there because we ended up with like about 100 people came, which was stunning to me.
The first one?
Yeah.
What?
Because she knew how to get the word out.
I'm going to need someone like that in my area.
However, and we're actually going to do it again next year. But I think if I were doing it again, what I've tried to do recently is do something in our neighborhood. And I don't know how many people are familiar or have access to Nextdoor.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do know.
If you live in an apartment, you might not.
I do know the Nextdoor app. I say Nextdoor app is the app you can't get rid of.
Yeah. But I've tried just gauging interest. But honestly, if you just know people, they tell other people.
Yes.
Like we had a couple of vendors out there, and one of them had heard about the swap from someone who followed me. So I posted it on Instagram every day for the 2 weeks leading up, and before that, once a week. I had little postcards made and sent them to local businesses and gave them to other people I knew who worked in nurseries. It does not I realize looking back, I made it way more complicated maybe than it needed to be. I think it's as simple as asking other people you know. I mean, you could have a plant swap with 10 people or 5 people in your backyard.
Yeah, it's like a plant swap party.
Yes, exactly. You could also, I think, I've never tried this, but I know people have, is do the on video conferencing online. One of my followers did a Zoom plant.
A Zoom swap. I've never been a part of it, but I've also not heard of it.
And she's had a lot of success. She's Confessions of a Plant Lady.
Okay.
That's how we first connected because she knew I had done a plant swap and she asked me for tips. She partnered with, I don't remember if she partnered with a company on that one, but it does help when you partner with someone if you want to do something more than your house can hold because they give you space and they might provide things like food or water because, they get business out of it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think online would be a smart way to have maybe even a small one or a big one.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think I made this more complicated than it had to be, but we kind of set out rules where we asked people, no gardening plants, we just wanted indoor, no selling. We didn't do what a lot of people do now is they have soil to repot cuttings. A lot of people rooted cuttings. A lot of people didn't. But I requested that they bring rooted cuttings if they could. And so you need to give notice so people have time to root if that's what you want.
I know that you'll trade equal equal types of plants, or
Yes.
because like you're not gonna trade like a Monstera white monster for a philodendron Birkin.
Exactly. I would not. Well, maybe a Birkin. I would not. I would say if you're going to bring a pothos, you're going to have a hard time trading it. For
Yeah.
example, one guy bought this giant fiddle leaf fig cutting, and everyone was lusting after it. And he was like the king of the show. Like he wasn't going to trade with just anybody, and he finally traded with someone who had another rare plant.
Okay. Yeah. See that's a good trade too.
So your
Because
trade is as good as what you bring in many ways.
yes.
Depending on how big, like I scheduled my swap for 3 hours, but really after 2 hours, everybody was done, and pretty much most people had
Okay.
left. 2 hours is enough. And if it's smaller, maybe even less than that. But I was thinking I had to referee it, and I did have a prize. I got a friend of mine to do a plant drawing, um, but everyone just started. Everyone was so excited. I gave name tags to everybody with their
Uh-huh.
handles and their names, and I asked people to label their plants, whether it was in a pot. And a few people brought full-grown plants they wanted to swap, but most people brought cuttings. But you could bring whole plants.
We're going to jump into the first question I have on the list of things I already asked you, but for us, the viewers, and of course myself, what first inspired you to host a plant swap?
I saw on Instagram Plant One on Me, Summer Rain's Oak, did a couple in New York area, and I was totally fascinated by that. And I kept looking around for some in the Detroit area, and I couldn't find any, or I never saw any notice of any. No businesses were doing them that I knew of. So I kind of did like I do everything. I just decided to do it, and that's how
Uh,
I got inspired. I tend to take on these things I know nothing about because that excites me to learn how to do something.
that does push you to like the edge of learning where you have to learn about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But that's what got me into the whole plant swap thing. It just seemed like a way to meet other plant people, and I was kind of isolated from other plant folks. And
Is it the area that you live in, or is it just you didn't know who were out
I
there?
just didn't know who. Um, then I lived in the city of Detroit in a place full of historic houses. And actually, over the years, I lived there 15 years, had done a lot of plant tours, or excuse me, house tours. And I just never saw people who had any plants, really. I think people cleaned them up before tours so you couldn't see them. I mean, I wouldn't say I was ahead of my time. There were people who had lots of plants. I just couldn't find them. There weren't as many as there probably are now.
I think there are many now. Okay, for someone who's brand new to wanting to do a plan swap, what is the simplest and first step like someone can do to get organized?
I would say gauge interest. I created a close friends list of people in the Michigan area and on Instagram, and I sent out a note. Would you come to this? And then I talked to my friend who, Rachel, also her name is Rachel, who, like I said, was a retailer and knew about marketing. I kind of just asked around to make sure people wouldn't think I was weird because if there's no interest, you know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
every time I mentioned it to someone, there was excitement. So I knew there were people who wanted this.
For someone that's starting this, what are some fears and challenges beginners might have?
My biggest fear was that nobody would show up. um, and I think that is a real possibility because I was in another plant swap with a friend last year and only 20 people showed up. I
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, but after 100, I was disappointed.
Oh,
But
yeah, your
know
first
that
one was 100.
I
Yes.
was, it was enough. I mean, everybody traded, everybody had fun. So I would say, don't worry about that like I did. Um, I would also say it's helpful, like I did, if you partner with someone who knows about something that you're doing. Do you know what I mean? So, like, the woman I partnered with knew how to get the word out. She also knew the business, the people who ran the building that I wanted to have the swap in. I was worried about where to have it because our yard, we knew we were moving at that point. So I wasn't, we were packing and stuff. So I wasn't in a position to have anything at my house, which
Okay.
would have been my first choice, actually. Less work for me. Um, and I would just say you can do it. Plant people just talk to each other,
Yeah. Yes.
and the word gets out. And if you can get, like, I got the newspaper I used to work at to do a little article. That's not always possible. I was
Right.
lucky that way. The other way I was lucky is the woman I partnered with had a friend on public radio, and she announced it that morning. And in fact, a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
people who
That's
were
how you
there,
get 100 people.
I asked people as they came how they heard about it, and that's how a lot of people heard about it.
Cool.
So for
Wow.
me, the biggest challenge can be getting the word out that this is happening. That's why it's nice to start small with people you know, or at least people nearby, because you don't have to. I mean, 20 people is fine, 10 people is fine.
Yeah. So do you feel like there's a particular place that would work better? Cafes, homes,
I
public
mean, it
places?
depends on where you live and what kind of life you lead. I think
Could you even ask the library to do this?
you
Help you with this?
could, you could. A lot of the last one we had was at a nature center
Okay.
in this area. Uh, a coffee shop, I think, would probably be happy to partner with something on that, like that. And I also think a church might want
Mhm.
to do it. I think that you could do it at your house if you have the space or a yard, especially in the summer. If you wanted to do it outside, that's
Yeah.
likely. It's nice to partner with a business just because they'll often provide refreshments for you and maybe a little more space depending on what place you're at. Um, but some places like might open like a little early on a Sunday or stay a little later or make it part of their evening, hours for some reason or another. So be open to where and how you can do it. Um, and then your biggest issue is inviting the people who you want to come. And a lot of these kinds of businesses, like they have newsletters and stuff like that, that can help you get the word out. If you're feeling like I'm isolated and I don't know
Mhm.
anybody, businesses, so many of them have weekly newsletters now.
There's Facebook for the neighborhood and like some stores and stuff do Facebook. So I think that,
And
yeah.
that's
So,
something I didn't think of. Newsletters then weren't as big as they are now. So many businesses are doing them, and they weren't when I did mine.
okay. What are your some like go-to rules and guidelines to keep it fair and fun?
Yeah, it was fun because plant people love to talk to plant
How
people.
about their plans?
Got to meet all these people. They had to be healthy. You need
No
to make it,
pests.
yeah. No sick plants. No, I've had plants given to me, and after I get them, people, oh, by the way, I have mealies floating around the house. No, don't bring that plant. um, be Try to include how you care for it.
Okay.
When you're talking to people, we actually ask people to label everything, put it in a plastic bag, and include the name of the plant. Like, don't bring a nameless plant, please, so that people can look up how to. Because if you're regifting a plant, maybe that someone gave you, but it's not working for you, then you would want to know at least what they did or why it didn't work. No selling was the big thing, but it was a big group, and there were a couple of people who were selling, and I had to shut them down. But if you're having a smaller swap, like with even 5 to 10 people, that's not really an issue. And they should ask you. And maybe you're okay with people selling stuff, but anyone who wants to sell should clear it by the organizer.
Have you seen swaps kind of help people make friends and strengthen their their plant community and yours?
Oh, definitely. Occasionally, people online ask me still, when are you going to do another plant swap? Um,
Yes.
and there are one, two, three. I can think of 4 people off the top of my head who I met at the swap who I'm still plant friends with. We still swap plants, or we spend time together.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and one of them, who was more interested in getting a bigger community involved than I was, actually took cues from my swap and led a plant swap at a business. I don't know, the next year maybe, because I had mine in April. He might have done it in the fall. But I thought that was good. That was good. More swaps, more swaps.
Yeah, so your plant swap that you usually do is in spring.
Yeah, I like to do it when things are starting to grow. So ours was in April, and we do it again, it'll be in April. So that gives people a better chance of success when they
Yeah.
get the cuttings.
And
Um,
is yours in Detroit?
it was in uh, an area called the New Center in the Fisher Building, which is,
Okay.
um, and it was actually in the lobby. One of the big issues I had was at the last minute they had to they asked me to buy insurance.
Buy
Which I
insurance.
did, yes, in case someone fell and hurt
Oh, like
themselves.
liability insurance.
And
Okay.
even though my friend store was right where the swap was, she had thought that would cover it, and in fact, she contacted her company, and they said they would cover that, but the building operators made me get, and this was really a last minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was not happy.
Yeah.
Cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
um,
Liability insurance is not
I
cheap.
did charge people $5 to come in. I did not like charging, but after that, I felt
Did you charge then, or have you always charged?
I had always advertised that we would charge $5 from the
Okay.
beginning, but I had planned to donate it to a charity. It in fact ended up paying for my insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people did ask me, "Where's the money going?" And I told them.
Okay.
So I think being able to donate though to a charity is nice. People like that. It would be nicer if I didn't have to charge people at all, but the insurance and the size that it was,
Yeah.
and the time I spent. Basically, I did this on my own.
I'm sure. And then your the first one that you did do, did you charge $5 as well?
Yes. The one I just did was actually run by another friend that I met at the first plant swap, and
Okay.
she asked me to help her do it. It was a small event. We did not charge anything. And
Okay.
she actually did all the work. I kept saying, "Why do you want me here?" Because at the time I wasn't super well. And she said, "No, because you just know what's going to happen, and you get the pitfalls, and people just know your name, and you just need to do it." So I was like, "Okay."
Be here, show your face. Yeah.
But it
I
was
guess
it was a good swap. I mean, people really friendly.
what you shared about liability insurance would fall into one of the unexpected lessons you've learned about hosting plant
Yeah,
swaps.
that was a big one. Um, and I I'm gonna have it there again because now I just know what to expect. It'll be
Yeah.
easier the second time.
Do you
Um,
have documents, checklists? Do you use any of that?
it's so funny. I did make a checklist of things I would do differently, but in our move, it got lost.
You
So
have to do another one.
One of the things I learned, like I said, that 3 hours was too long, that 2 hours was enough. Um, Another thing I learned was people don't need my help to communicate.
Hmm.
Um, and there were some things that I'm sorry I've forgotten that I'm hoping will come back to me as I put to
Yeah. Um, so I guess like, is there anything else that you want to cover regarding like starting a plant swap to someone that, like me wanting to do it in, I live in a very small town, so it's probably not going to be a lot of people, but I would like to get to know my town because
Mm-hmm.
I moved here 2 years ago. But in Midwest talk, usually we see people in spring and summer. It's
Yes,
not a lot of people. You don't really,
in the
you don't
winter.
really leave the house much once winter comes. But
Do
yeah,
you
like what would you tell someone that is kind of doing that?
I would
Anything that
say use your, and this works really well if you live in an apartment building, which I'm thinking some people do.
common area?
Use your contacts that have contact with people you want to meet with. Like I'm sure you have some neighborhood groups. Like I'll bet there's a garden club.
Yeah.
I'll bet there's a neighborhood association. I would definitely reach out to them and and plus you, out of, what's the word? Just to be nice and polite, especially if you have a neighborhood association and you're planning on doing something outdoors that could be bigger maybe than you expect, you would want to let them know.
Hmm.
Um, if you live in an apartment building, somebody manages it. Um, I would reach out to them and say, hey, I would start with them. Hey, I want to do a plant swap, and here's what might happen, and can you help me, or what should I know? As it turns out, the guy who was in charge of these community events, the woman who usually did it was on maternity leave. This guy
Okay.
was filling in. So we were both learning. That's why I
Yeah.
didn't find out about the insurance to the last minute. And I found out later he didn't even really have to do it. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I wonder if you can do it at a park. Would that, I guess
um,
you have to rent the
that
park
would,
space.
yeah, you have to give a lot of notice to every park I've ever been to. Like if you want to rent one of their little shelters,
Hmm.
or, but yeah, that's a really good idea. I hadn't even thought of that, but I like that idea. And I should have, because a friend of mine wanted me to, my computer advisor actually wanted to do one at a park in her neighborhood, and she asked me to lead one.
Yeah,
And
you can have like a microphone and then get the other people in the park
mhm,
curious.
yes.
Yeah.
So that, if there are any though neighborhood gathering spots where you live, sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. I would try to get their help.
Okay.
Uh,
There is like we have one convenient grocery store. It's like
mhm.
not, it's more of a convenience store, but the convenience store guy is also a plant guy.
Oh,
So I spotted that and I think man, Julie, I'm gonna
I
do
would
this.
I
I'm gonna
would
do
reach
it.
out to him for sure.
Yeah.
Because you can bet he knows customers too.
Yeah.
That
Man, I think I wasn't aware of all the resources I already do have. What, like you talked about online swaps, what would that look like when you want to actually send the plant off? Like is it like you pay the cost of shipping and the other
Mhm.
person pay their cost of shipping, but there's no other fees,
Um,
right?
I think maybe you would want to pay the swapper's cost of shipping first of all, but it
Yeah.
can get expensive to ship,
Hmm.
especially if you're shipping multiple cuttings.
And then what if the plant doesn't make it
Well,
in the,
I think those are rules you need to set out at the
yeah.
beginning. Because some, like another plan I just ordered that was sent priority mail was sent Monday. It should have gotten here Thursday. It didn't get here till the following Tuesday.
Okay.
One of
And
them.
I mean, even if you do like an online swap, it could be a neighborhood online swap,
It could.
and then we just meet like we set a time for everyone to meet and do the trade.
Mhm. And to be ready to show their plants and
Yeah.
cuttings, whichever.
Yeah.
And I would, at that point, I would say anything that's full grown in a pot, like at an in-person swap, you could bring the pot, but you would want to send it
Yeah.
bare rooted,
Yeah.
you know, and make it. I think you would want everyone's contact info
Mm-hmm.
before it starts,
Yeah.
so that when you do have a swap, and I'm not sure technically how the swap itself would work, which was what I had the hardest time with trying to.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Summer called me because I emailed her directly and said, "What are the mechanics of the actual swap?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had a heaved a big sigh of relief that people were talking even before, as soon as they walked in the door.
Yeah.
And because of the way I had everybody label everything and had the name tags, it was easy to actually do the swaps. I didn't.
You had shared that you had a prize with your like
No, it was a. I have a friend who's an artist, and I asked him to draw something that was related to plants,
oh wow.
and which he did for free, but it was so beautiful I paid him. And I don't know if they kept it. It's a pencil drawing because he was gifting it to me. I said, please don't put a lot of time into this because I don't know the person who gets it. I don't know how they're going to take care of it. And I had it framed in a pretty simple frame. Um, but I mean, when we did the plant swap last year, Robin, she's at House of Plant Tours. I don't know if you know her, but or follow her. But she had a bunch of prizes. Like every, I don't know, half an hour, she was giving away a prize. And it was all stuff she got super cheap or free. And I mean,
Okay.
people loved it.
Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
so I did the drawing mainly. And I also, I think I offered that the first, so I did two things, three things. I think I offered a certain number of people free admission, the first so many, I forget how many. Also, at the time, because I also collect pottery, I collect way too many things. And I had all these little starter pots in my garage, which I cleaned up and deleted.
Okay, so you use that
And
for
so
yeah.
people who came to the swap got to, and my friend put them, displayed them in her shop on a shelf right by the door, so people could go pick a pot to put their new cuttings in.
Oh wow. I love that.
That was one of my learnings was this time we'll do a place that has soil so you can pot it up right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, at a smaller swap, I don't know if I would do that because if
Right.
people are going to be nearby, they can just.
I'm gonna ask you the last question that I'm asking everyone on these interviews that I've been doing. So what is one life or self-care lesson plants have taught you?
Oh, patience, for sure. I actually have a lot of patience, I thought. And people, when they describe me, always say I have a lot of patience and I never get angry about anything. But I really, really have learned a lot about patience growing plants because I like to buy small plants.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the satisfaction comes in watching them grow,
Mm-hmm.
and as the owner of Arian Botanicals in Portland told me, you get a plant and you grow it, and then you get a cutting and you give it to somebody, and they grow it and they give a cutting to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of neat how it expands.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a cutting should be free, and if it's a rare plant, okay, I'll pay $5.
Okay. I
I
think that's a quote I'm gonna use for my Instagram today.
so I do
I'll
believe
put your name on it too.
patience though, and sharing. I think too. Um, I've always been kind of a loner. I still am in life, but I love sharing plants with people.
Mm-hmm.
whether I've had success with them or not. I had a Cebu blue that I just could not get that stupid plant to grow. It did not like me. So,
Wait, wait. Oh my,
so
this is mine.
I just think it never looked as beautiful
What
as
is this?
pictures. I know, right? So I gave a bunch of cuttings. I put them online. I cut it way back. Ultimately, I ended up getting rid of it. And Robin came and picked up the cuttings. She's a neighbor. She's a other side of town neighbor. And so I went to her the first time I went to her house to see her plants. I said, "Wow, that's a beautiful plant. What is that?" She said, "I got those cuttings from you."
That's funny. I got this as a cutting, and it was really long because it was one single. But at the minute I chopped it up, it was mad. It got mad at me. So yeah. I think that's one thing when you give a plant to someone, and then that you didn't do well with you, and then you see theirs, and it's like, what did you do that I didn't do?
And I recently sold a Hoya to someone I met at the last plant swap I was at, and I like sold really a full grown plant that had never bloomed for me for like $20. And the
Mhm.
woman who bought it last year just posted about a month ago that, "Look, Julie, it's blooming." I'm so glad it bloomed for you because it wasn't blooming for me.
That is hilarious. Plants, the secret. There's
I
plants share
know.
secrets with other people.
Yes. Unlocking the code.
I hope my interview with Julie was helpful and gave you a lots of tips to even start your own plant swap. I know I learned a lot and I'm definitely inspired to start my own swap. I would love to hear your takeaways on this video, or if there's something that we didn't talk about, please drop it in the comments. You can find Julie on Instagram at Detroit City Plants. And also, a fun fact about Julie, she is also a huge pottery collector with incredible stories behind the pieces. If you'd like to see another interview with Julie all about pottery, drop a plant emoji in the comments below. If you want even more behind the scenes plant filled content, check out my Patreon. It's a place where you can dive a little deeper into plant related topics, some wellness and life topics as well, while supporting the channel. There is even a free tier available so anyone can join. Thank you so much for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your day, and always remember you are loved. Okay, give me 1 second. I have my sourdough timer going off to turn my dough. I'm just gonna turn it off.
Okay.
I should have just brought it here to turn it. All right, goodbye. Peace out.